Okay, we're going to do a GAMI lean test on this aircraft. This is a 1971 Baron B-58, and just installed a EDM-760 monitor and GAMI injectors. The prior owner didn't have GAMIs. Kind of a wasteful way to fly a plane like this. Engine longevity and fuel burn, especially with today's fuel prices, it's almost mandatory to me that you have GAMI injectors and a good engine monitor. This is the 760 here. This was just installed. I just installed this Aspen. Radar was already in along with the 430 and the 155 and the transponder and all that. But anyway, first thing to do is to check, make sure that all your cylinders are firing. Your foul plug can happen, and you wouldn't know it unless you have an engine monitor. I'll show you how to do that. We're basically going to bring the throttles up to 1700 RPM. So there's 1700. Let our EGTs come up. And then we're going to normalize them. We're just going to snap them all to the same level. And we're just going to take our mags and flip them, and we should get rises on all cylinders, which we do. Go back to both. They should all come back down, which they do. Then we'll go to the other mag, all back up, all 12 of them up, back to both, all 12 of them back down. Now after you do that, you really want to make sure that you are off normalize mode to bring back your EGDs to the proper setting. I'll bring back the props, or the power I mean. I'm not one to run long, extensive checkups and cycle the props every time you fly the plane. Might cycle them once. But bring it back. Okay, we're basically ready to go. Plane's running well. Trim's already set. I set all that stuff beforehand. We're not really going anywhere, so I don't have that in the GPS. Just make sure the mags are on. No warning lights. Cowl flaps are open. And that's all there is to it. We're going to go up to probably 7,000 or 8,000 feet, and we're going to do a GAMI lean test to see what our fuel spread is between the first engine, or the first cylinder to peak in each engine, and the last cylinder to peak. Oh, with that said, we're good. Announce our departure here, and we'll be going. And we'll bring those mixtures full rich for takeoff. We're also going to look and see what the fuel flow is. I'd like this plane to be about 29 gallons per hour on each side. I have a feeling they're set a little too low, which we'll take care of also. You want as much fuel as possible at full power when you're taking off. A lot of people run these way too lean on takeoff, which is not good. So we're set. That's all set. Doors shut. No warning lights. We're ready to go. Albany Cup County Traffic, Baron, November 38, Charlie Echo, departing runway 9. We'll be eastbound Albany Cup. And let's see, we'll bring our strobe lights on. We'll bring our landing lights on. I have the nice LED landing lights, so I run them all the time. They draw hardly any power. Okay, mixture's rich, props full. Ready to go. Okay, power coming up. Gauges are in the green. Full power is set, airspeed's alive, no warning lights. Red line, rotate. Up we go. Positive rate of climb, gear up. We're already past blue line. Up we go, 120 knots. Props are running just a little high on that right engine. I'm going to set it, and we're getting 27 and 26.5 gallons per hour. That's not enough. I'm going to set them up. Okay, engine's producing power on every cylinder. That's good. See that down here? Okay, we'll climb out at about 135, 140 knots, and we'll pull it back to 135 actually. There's 135. Those agree pretty well. That's given us about 2,300 foot per minute in this airplane, which it'll do 2,000 to 2,200 pretty easily in the climb with just me in it. If I haul it back to 120 knots, which is roughly about right there. We can get initially 3,000 foot a minute in a sustained climb real easily of about 21 or 2,200 foot per minute, but we're in no big hurry today. So we'll climb out. We're monitoring our temperatures. Looks like we have cylinder head temperatures in the upper 300s here. We'll let it, we'll just go through it manually. We got 371 and 364, 338, 353, 372 and 386, 369 and 371, 351 and 383, and our number 6 will probably be the hottest, 392 and 389, which to me is too hot. I know the book says 450 is fine, up to 450, but there's no reason for that high a temperature, especially with the cow flaps open and it's only, oh heck, 55 degrees up here. So, and we're climbing up, going through 4,000. I'm going to turn back to the west. And we're climbing out full power. That's how you should run these. Full power, 2,700 RPM, 25 inches of manifold pressure in the climb here. And we'll go kind of northwest here, actually. And climbing at 140 knots at 1,500 foot a minute. This particular plane's the coal mill, I think it's called Foxstar. It's got 4-bladed props, 300 horse, 550s. Nice, easy flying airplane. It's probably one of the easiest flying twins in my opinion because it has such a good feel. A lot of them get neglected. This one had decent maintenance. Yeah, see, I'm getting my alarm now at 400 degrees. I'll lower the nose just a little. This one here was run without GAMIs. It was run rich at peak. The boots weren't taken care of properly. I fixed that. Just a bunch of stuff that was rather disappointing. I don't know. I spent some time really making it nice, and I got it pretty much where it needs to be now. Just need to bump those fuel flows up a little bit and see what the engines are doing as far as fuel spread here, which we'll know shortly. Okay, we're up to 6,000. Another talking point, I've had G600s, Aspens, Old King stuff. Thing for the buck, pretty hard to beat this Aspen. You get GPSS roll steering, built-in AHRS unit. It just gives you everything you need in one nice cheap package, and you can add another one for virtually very little money with complete redundancy. If this plane didn't have the boots that were on it, I would have put another one of these in and ripped my vacuum or my pressure pumps off. They wouldn't be needed. I just replaced a pressure pump for $600, which wouldn't have been needed if I didn't have the boots. So it is what it is. Anyway, we'll just roll over here to 7,500 foot, take a little easterly heading, so I guess we're legal. A very easy flying airplane. It's hard to beat the Baron for bang for buck. Okay, there's, whoop, staring outside, not much my altitude. There's 7,500 roughly. I'm going to snap the heading here. Turn on the autopilot. Set it for altitude hold. That's all pretty easy stuff there. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the cow flaps open. Let the engines run a little cooler. I'll pull back the props first. A lot of people like to run back to 24. This plane's a lot quieter at 24, but I really like 2,500 with these 4 blades. I don't know why. This seems to be a nice setting. There's 2,500. Props are relatively synced well. We're pulling 22 inches. I don't know. I suppose that's around 70% power. I'm not sure. Anyway, heading east. Looks like the temperatures are starting to come down a little. Get that CHT warning go away. Okay, good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to want to lean this. We're going to want to put it in lean fine mode. I'm going to do just one engine at a time, and the reason why I'm going to do that is so I can watch my fuel flow over here and know when they peak, when the first cylinder peaks and the last cylinder peaks. So I'll start with the left engine. So we just hit the lean fine. It says I've got it set for lean a peak. So I'm just going to lean it. Left engine first. You're going to see the fuel flow start to come down here. You're going to see the EGTs rise initially. Number 4 is currently the hottest. Okay, we're back to 16. And when a cylinder flashes, we'll know we're, okay, number 3 leaned at 14.5. And last to lean is number 2 at 14. So I've got a half-gallon spread on the left-hand side. So we're doing 13.7 gallons per hour. Our leanest cylinder is 15 degrees lean a peak right now. So there was a half gallon between there. Might have been 4/10. I might not have looked fast enough. So let's do the right side. Okay, 18, 17. And 16, going nice and slow. There's number 4 at 14.7. And number 6 at 14.3. So 4/10 on the right side. And 4 to 5 tenths on each side. So somewhere just under a half gallon per hour differential between cylinders. That's probably not too bad. So here we are set, lean a peak now. We're truing out at 189 knots. I could probably go a little more lean a peak. We're 20 degrees lean a peak on number 2 here. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. And we're 20 degrees lean a peak on our number 6 on the right-hand side. So that's pretty cool. So 20 degrees lean a peak is yielding 188 knots true and a ground speed of 223. Ground speed, of course, because the wind. We're burning 13 gallons per hour here on the left and 13.3 on the right. So not too shabby, really. We could lean it a little further. Let's see how our penalty, what kind of penalty we get for speed. We're now, oh my gosh, what are we? We're 75 degrees lean a peak, or 80 degrees lean a peak and 65 here. 184 knots. So we lost about, 4 to 5 knots of airspeed. This engines are still running dead smooth. So, not too bad to be able to run, saying 90 degrees lean now. 90 and 75 lean. Here, let's bring that left engine up just a little so it's closer to the right engine. And they're both burning, which is nice to see, about the same amount of fuel. So we're going to even them up here just ever so slightly on the mixtures. Okay. Let's see what that does. Boy, these are so touchy at this level. Okay, if we're 12.3 on the left and 12.4 on the right, we're 70 degrees lean a peak on the left and 70 on the right now. That's about as good as it gets, I think. And again, we're dead smooth, and we're still turning 184 knots true. Looks like we're burning about a total combined of about 25 gallons per hour. This airplane holds 166 gallons usable. Figuring hours reserve puts us down at 100 and, let's round it down, 140 gallons. You do the math there, you got a 5-hour airplane in safe reserves. So for me, Northeast Indiana to Florida, Southwest Florida nonstop, and pretty cool. So again, 70 to 80 degrees lean a peak, about 12.2, 12.3 per side, 182 knots it says now, 184 right in that range, not too shabby. I'll take that. Okay, we'll head back east, or west. Here we are. Good old Century 3 autopilot, does a good job. Heck, almost into Pennsylvania. All right. Also, let's check now. We'll see what our temperatures are. CHTs 305 and 303, 314 and 310, 306 and 314, 306 and 298. 342 and 345 on the number 6. That's the one I'm concerned about. That number 6 cylinder runs hot, and I think it's. I think I need to do the GAMI mod. They have a deal where you can drill a hole in your front baffling down low to supply more air to the number 6 cylinder. Which the number 6 is your most forward cylinder. You would think it would be the best for cooling. Well, the air doesn't contact the cylinder long enough to remove the heat. Is the way I understand it. Maybe I'm wrong there. Someone can educate me. But I'm going to go ahead and close the cowl flaps, see what we get there. We'll see these lights go out when the cowl flaps close. Okay, they're closed, so I'll go ahead and turn the switches off. We were at 340 and 348. Let's see how much our engine heats up at 7,600 foot. No, it's 45 degrees right here. So this is, this would be close to a standard temperature day. Actually, it would be a standard temperature day. But I can make this engine run a lot cooler. I have a Bonanza with a single 550 in it, and we have the cylinder head temperatures, cowl flaps closed in cruise. Hottest cylinder's number 2 on that plane, and it's running about 355 in cruise, and the other cylinder head temperatures are in the upper 200s. So again, 184 knots, under 25 gallons an hour. Dead smooth engines. Here's what the back of the Baron looks like, in case you haven't seen. Where that empty seat is, I'm going to put a little potty chair, a little Coleman. Make a non-stop machine. Nice baggage behind the rear seats. This is the club seating, which is kind of nice. Big entry doors. We got the winglets on this, and vortex generators. All right. Looks like we're stabilizing. Left engine's doing better than right. We're at 348 on the left and 367 on the right. That's still plenty cool, but I'm going to get them cooler. So, and our right engine creeped up. Our right engine might be a little warmer just because it's running a little rich. I'm going to go ahead and bring it down a little bit. Match it back up with the first engine. There we are, 12.2 and 12.1. If we get any drop in the CHT, we're at 373. Now, 374. 375, that ain't good. 374. So it looks like, yeah, coming down now, 373. Right here, so 373 on the right engine, 352 on the left. Those are my hottest cylinders. Down to 371 now. I'm actually a little leaner. I'm 11.9 on that engine. 184 knots still. So, anyway, lean is cool. You want to run your engine lean. You want to know how to run it right, though. Another interesting point, we have pretty even EGTs across here. The overall value has no meaning. In other words, we're 1373 degrees, 1368. Those don't mean anything. What we want to know is, what is, are they fairly even? Do we have one cylinder real high, one real low? If we do, we have an imbalance. Do we have a plugged injector, an induction leak, a valve? Well, a valve going bad would be a different scenario, but you can tell a lot out of this engine monitor. This is a very important piece of equipment. I would urge you, if your airplane does not have a full engine monitor, you really should invest in one. It's cheap insurance. This installed was about $5,500, and you know what a great value to know what your engine's doing. So good running, good solid engines. I'm pretty happy with the result. Tell you what, let's shoot an approach into Auburn. I'll show you how the GPSS roll steering. Might as well do that while we're here. We're going to go direct to. My airport is GWB. GWB, enter, activate. With the procedure, we'll select approach. Let's do the RNAV 9, and we'll do Puzzroo, interesting intersection name. Puzzroo as our initial. And we'll go and activate it from here. Okay, it's saying do a left to 260. Well, you know what? I'm just going to hit GPSS. Let the airplane fly it. So we're going to Puzzroo. Remember how to run this thing. All right, looks like 12 minutes to Puzzroo. So what I'm going to do is go to a moving map display. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a left-hand turn and bang it on in. We can do the same thing here. I can run this scale to automatic. Okay, this is set to automatic. A lot of clutter right here. I could declutter this, but I'll leave it for now. It'll start ranging in. And we're just going to basically follow the purple line right here for our intersections, or initial approach fix, I should call it. Follow it in. Turn it back to automatic. All right. Okay, we need to get down to about 3,000 foot, so I'll set my altitude to 3,000 foot. See if I can remember how to do that. There we are. Oh, went past it. Dang it. All right, so 3,000, we're going to put in the index right up here. That's good. And let's start her downhill. We're going to hit the pitch. We're going to turn off altitude hold. Just roll this down about there. Give us about, 700-800 foot a minute. I'm going to bring back the power. If you notice, I'm going to leave my mixtures where they're at. This airplane has altitude compensating fuel pumps. So as I descend, it'll automatically enrichen as the altitude goes down. But there's no sense coming down at Mach 10. So we'll pull back the power to 20 inches. By the way, another thing, shock cooling, forget about it. You're not going to shock cool your engine. We're already cool. That's really a myth. Yeah, if you run it at 450 degrees and then pull back your throttles to nothing and head downhill, you might be able to hurt the engine. But when you're running Lena Peak, you're running cool already. Good cool temperatures. There is nothing to worry about. Okay, we're actually coming down at about 1,200 foot per minute. So, I have my back head off just a scotch. Turn on the GPSS roll steering so we head towards our waypoint. I wasn't paying attention, didn't have that turned on. And we're getting a few bumps. Okay, going through 6,000 foot. Now this is kind of nice. What it's going to do, this Aspen is going to intercept our course line automatically with GPSS. It's going to put us on course, and then it'll turn right back on course. Had I been paying attention, I would have done that earlier. Okay, we've descended over 1,000 foot, so we've gained an inch of manifold pressure. So again, in the descent, I usually try to keep about 19 or 20 inches. That'll keep us out of the yellow arc. Beechcraft's a great plane, but this thing is 41 years old, and I haven't owned it the whole time, so I have no idea how it was treated. Better safe than sorry. Again, we have pretty good even EGTs. Really like seeing that. And the airplane is rolling back towards the course line. See us right here in the airplane coming up the magenta line, and we'll do a left turn, then another left turn, then inbound. So 430W is kind of old technology, but you know what? It works as good as all of them. I can't see spending 10 grand or 20 grand to upgrade it. Okay, as we're coming down, we're passing through 5,000 foot. Potential upgrade in the future. This old Century 3 works great. It's right on. Love it. However, I would like to see a upgrade from Avidyne for the Baron be certified. They're working on it in the Bonanza right now to replace the Century 3 with their DFC-90. That's an all-digital autopilot. Direct interface to the Aspen. You don't need the EA100 module with it. I mean, it's going to be a no-brainer to upgrade because you'll get to use the old Century servos, which is a lot of expensive install. So, but you know, I'll fly this until it quits. These are bulletproof, or not bulletproof, good old autopilots that they just do what you want them to do. Okay, going through 4,300 foot. Turn on the radar, see what we got on radar over there. Take a minute for it to warm up. Might even not warm up before we hit Puzru and turn back east where there'll be no rain, but I think we got a little from the west coming. I also have a nice, by the way, another nice feature is an iPad. I got an iPad mount that mounts right here, fills this space great. And then I use this GDL39A antenna. This has free weather coming through it through the ADS-B system. This is probably one of the nicest little deals you can get. You pay $7.99 for the antenna and your data's free for life. So that's a nice feature. I really like this. We happen to have an ADS-B antenna on our field too, which is very nice. I get the weather even on the ground. So nice little feature. Yeah, looks like the radar's coming alive. Takes about 3 to 4 minutes for it to actually get active though. Like I said, we'll might hit Puzru before it comes alive. Okay. Engine's looking healthy. Got good oil pressure. Turning about 55 to 60 on each side, 50 to 55 on each side for oil pressure. Oil temperature's about 170 or so on the right, about 160 on the left, maybe a little low, but not bad. So, okay. Looking good. There's 3,000 foot. I'll put altitude hold on. Looking good. Very interesting. This autopilot has, of course, automatic trim pitch for the tail, and you can watch it work when the autopilot wants to change altitude or level the aircraft or whatever, but it doesn't have steering yoke mounted trim, which is interesting. Instead, you hold the red button until you get the attitude where you want, you let go of it. That's kind of odd. Never quite understood that. Okay, we're not painting anything yet on the radar. Nothing on the storm scope. We're out 200 miles, so yeah, I can't say enough good about the Barons. They're just a great airplane. And we're back up to 400 CHT again on my right side. That was with the cow flaps closed. I'll go ahead and open them. Again, that won't hurt anything, but 400's my limit. It hits 400, I do something about it. Some mechanics will argue with you and say, oh, that, I had one the other day tell me that I was going to hurt my engine because I was going to run it too cool and the piston was going to hit the choke in the top of the cylinder and ruin it and all this. I didn't argue with him. Okay. Whatever. Guess I'm going to ruin my engines. Alright, we're 8 miles from Puzru. That's right here. And we're going to fly fly this approach just with GPSS roll steering in heading mode. And I'll control the altitude manually with pitch. Well, not manually, but with the autopilot pitch instead of letting it fly the glide slope. I got an issue for some reason when I go into localizer norm mode. This was just installed, but when I go to localizer norm mode, I'm off by 1/2 of a bar on my display, and the autopilot tracks that, so it doesn't line me up with the airport. I think he said the guy installed says there's an adjustment. Oh, there's our radar. So kind of interesting. My radar doesn't paint up in this area. Don't know why. It just doesn't. But set to 40 miles right now. Let's look out at 160, see what we get. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Tilt it up maybe a little far. We'll tilt it down a little. Anything more than about 80 miles with one of these probably ain't going to tell you much anyway. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't paint between here and here for some reason. I don't know if it's in the display, but it's a 40-year-old radar. The fact that it even makes a picture is quite amazing to me. Okay, anyway, let it make some pictures for us. Okay, we're 3.6 from Puzru. Oil pressures and temps are good. See what that number 6 cylinder's doing. 366 and 373. So, excuse me, cowl flaps make about a 35-degree difference. The baffling's a little suspect in this engine also, on these engines too. The baffling's old, again, just kind of crappy maintenance. They spent money on a lot of things that I thought was strange and spent no money on stuff that is kind of the nuts and the bolts of the airplane. I see that a lot. Everyone wants the most, you know, the gee whiz stuff, and then they neglect the engines or something, which makes no sense. Okay, we're getting an indication that says left to 185 here in 7 seconds. And what you'll notice is as soon as it hits this little dotted curved line here, autopilot's going to turn the plane automatically for us. There it goes. That's part of GPSS roll steering. For those that you don't have it, it tracks the GPS, gives the steering commands directly to the Aspen in a digital format. So it's just dead on. I mean, there's nothing better in my opinion. I will take a GPS approach anymore over an ILS. I just love the simplicity. Okay. Got a little bit of wind today. Actually, quite a bit. Winds directly out of the south at 41 knots. That's pretty strong for 3,000 foot. Alrighty. Looks like we got 37 gallons of fuel in the tanks. Hour and 36 remaining at this rate. Fuel gauges are typical Barrett. This one's reading about right. This one here, it jumps around. It starts reading right at about a quarter tank, or a little less than a quarter. I don't rely on them very much to hear. This means more to me than anything, fuel-wise. And this airplane has 3 attitude indicators. Got the Aspen, got the Sigma Tech, which is vacuum. This is the only vacuum instrument in this panel now. And then I have this backup RCL, and I think it's RCL, and that might be Sigma Tech too, I can't remember. But anyway, this is electric. And the only reason I left it, I thought this one I have to keep because it drives the autopilot. Without this, the autopilot doesn't work. So if Avidyne ever comes in with the DFC90, I'll be able to chunk this and replace this with the DFC90 and then move this into that position. So, again, we're getting our turn left to 095 now, automatic. I don't touch anything. Autopilot's holding 3,000 foot, just like clock, just like it should. So here we come around. Again, nice even EGTs. Like I said, hard to beat this engine monitor, bang for the buck wise. It's just it's really a great monitor. I have the Oracle, like I said, the 2100 in my Bonanza, and it's wonderful. But in a Baron, you're looking at, probably 20 grand. Now, you do get some real benefits, though. You get to replace your tach and your manifold pressure and your oil pressure and all that. Your original EGTs can go by the wayside. So it is nice, but it's hard to take an airplane that's worth 110, 20,000 and throw another 20 grand just into the engine monitor. It's that's it's 20% of the price of the aircraft. So we got that wind, like I said, 40 knots out of south, and the autopilot now in the Aspen is really starting to really hone in. It's holding it right on. It's beautiful, right like it should. But at first it overcorrected, figured the wind out, and got it. Starting to get our glide slope indication. Don't know if you can see that. That's this dot right here, coming downhill. So I'll go ahead and pull back the throttles to what I would consider approach speed, which is about 15 inches of manifold pressure. That gets us below gear speed. And then once I get to about here, I'll go ahead and throw in a little flaps. Go to approach flaps. I'll initially pitch the airplane up. Autopilot will recover. My wife always likes that part of the airplane ride. So here we come back down. Okay. And we're coming downhill. I'm going to throw the gear. I'm going to turn out the altitude hold off and just pitch the nose down manually now. I'm flying a little high on the glide slope, but I'll correct that. To get us down, coming down at about 500 minutes. I'm going to check the gear right here. We're green. That's real good. And then down here, you really can't see it, but there's an indicator there too showing the nose gear's down and locked. That's a mechanical indicator. Okay, so I'm going to recover here. We're a dot high on our glide slope. The runway's ahead there. Don't know if you can see it. Looking pretty good. As you can see, we've got a pretty good crab angle going. The wind's pretty decent here. Again, gear's down. Okay, coming down, we're doing 125 knots roughly. And we're starting to recover on the glide slope. I'm going to take just a little bit of pitch out. Looking good. And over to Cobb County traffic, Baron 38 Charlie Echo, 3.5, runway 9, Auburn. Okay, got our glide slope almost centered now. This is looking pretty good. 125 knots, 16 and a half inches of manifold pressure. I also don't touch anything here unless I think I'm going to go around. To me, the engines are running, don't touch them. That's just my philosophy. Others disagree. They say you should be ready for a go-around at any time. Okay. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. I just, if the engines are running, I don't want to mess with them. Okay, autopilot's flying on this. We're getting a few bumps. I took a little pitch out. There's the runway. Gear is down. Back off just a little more power. We can start slowing her down now. As you can see, the autopilot is holding that center line right on. We could let it go and it would crash right on the end of the runway there. Okay, 120 knots. I'm going to get the autopilot off. I'm going to go full flaps. I'm going to roll in a little bit of trim. Okay, we're at 110 knots. We're just going to bleed off speed from here. Double check. Gear down. And just a little more trim. You can never have too much trim. Here we are. 9's looking good. 100 knots. Back off some more power. This one has VGs. It loves to flow. And power off. 90, 80. Do a little flare. There we are. Just that easy, as they say. Okay. We're gonna take the first turn off here at Alpha. Gonna wait till I get off the runway. There's the runway. Then I'm going to pull back the yoke and I'm going to look and I'm going to read this. Flaps, not gear. I'm going to take the flaps, bring them up. And for my next flight, I'll go ahead and set the trims to 3 so I don't remember before. Or forget before the next flight. Looks clear this way. And we are clear of the active, so I usually shut the strobes off. That's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed the flight.